that went so well for you. But I know I encourage points of order from the floor, and I don't want to humiliate you further than you've already humiliated yourself.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Julian Discourse, and I hope you're all having a great day. We've all met that person who thinks their personal outrage should dictate reality. It's annoying at a family dinner, but it's terrifying when the left tries to turn it into actual law. They've built an entire framework around policing human emotion, treating offense like a crime. But that institutional shield makes them incredibly weak when challenged. In this clip, Katie Hopkins takes the floor at the Cambridge Union to confront this rot head-on. Watch how fast a student's rehearsed grievance falls apart against actual resistance. Hit subscribe and let's get into it.
Katie Hopkins is a media personality and commentator. She has been a columnist at The Sun and Mail Online, an LBC radio show presenter, and a British Army intelligence officer. Hopkins' commentary, especially on politics, social class, immigration, and race, has attracted controversy. And she is banned from South Africa, Australia, all schools in Wales, and all Murdoch media. Katie, you have the ears of the House.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Now I have to have a few questions here. Firstly, who the hell stands up at a debate and says, I'm sick? Good luck to everybody sat next to the sick individual. His name is Mike, but he can't use a mic, so maybe he needs some lessons. And Teddy, where have you been, my darling? Have you been hiding under a rock? I love you, I love you, I love you. But the way you speak is as if we have free speech in this country, which we do not. As if we have the freedom to offend in this country, which we do not. The sensible gentleman up here, which I'm assuming is a gentleman not attending Cambridge University, points out rightly that we receive a knock on our doors in the middle of the night now for posting offensive things online. Most recently, my darlings, I had a knock on my door. 2 police officers representing the entire constabularies of Devon and Cornwall Police, and also the Dorset Police Force, 2 police force at my door because I had committed a crime. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, I had used the word spaz about myself. You will think, ladies and gentlemen of this fine house, that I am making this story up. You will say, Katie Hopkins, controversial for a living. You will, like the president of this fine house, who didn't read out the CV that I sent in, I notice. He made one up for himself that was far less appreciative of my many talents. The CV that I submitted said Katie Hopkins is a national treasure. Did you miss that bit? Where is the CV that I sent that you should have read?
I did not personally.
Apologise for offending me immediately. 2 constabularies rocked up at my house because I committed the crime online of calling myself a spaz. And I am one. I am a fully qualified card-carrying disabled person. I'm missing half my skull, as many of you will know. Teddy, give me your hand. Lend me your hand. How squeamish are you, Teddy? Feel my skull, do you feel?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm a proper spaz. But because of the crime of calling myself a spaz online in order to help other people feel better about themselves generally, but you know how that goes, I had to go to a police station and be interviewed under caution by 2 members of CID for 2 hours. And there is a line which I'm very much hoping to get the tape to release to all of you that says, do you not realise how offensive it is to call yourself a spaz? That is the reality of this country right now, and this seems to be something that has passed you by, Teddy Weddy. I do not know where you have been, but I assume it's been under a rock or a chair or something. You need to open your eyes and open your ears, my friend, and learn how to say harassment. But regardless, it is not just that I am being locked up. You hear that I am banned from Australia, again for speech. I was imported into the country during the time of lockdown in order to perform like a monkey on television. And I encouraged the Australian people to rise up against the tyranny of lockdown. And for that, I was deported from the country. So I popped up in Arizona and had tattooed on my arse the stamp from my passport that says deported. I was removed from South Africa, as you know, for causing offence. Speech, again. And I ask you, this House surely must believe two things. Firstly, that offence is a feeling. It is a feel. You feel offended. Let me ask you, Teddy, and your cohorts of delicate flowers, what other feelings would you like to be policed? Would you like us to police the feelings of love? Would you like us to police lust, which I know you probably feel for me, Teddy?
I just have to say, unbelievable delivery during a debate. You know, most people don't deliver like this, but Katie Hopkins is something different. She's a different breed. I don't know, she's unbelievable.
It's inevitable in this suit.
Order, please.
Would you like us to police hate? What other feelings? What if you felt a bit sad in the morning? Would you like us to police that? I mean, we could police the fact that I think you're being fucking ignorant by being on your phone right now, or you preparing your speech. Why not prepare in advance of the occasion that you turn up to speak at? That's what I'm asking you. It is feelings you're trying to police. Secondly, one moment and I'll come back to you. Stay there. Well, wait, because I'm doing him next, aren't I, dimwit? Not only is it feelings, but you must agree that offence is not given. I do not give offence. You choose to take it, 100%. And you need to make better choices. And I ask you, how will we measure this offence? How will we measure? Mr. President, do you have a ruler in your pocket?
I do not.
What will we use to measure offence with? What is the metric, my friends, for this offence? And if we could measure offence, how shall we judge how much is too much? How much is too little? Should we find the most offended person in here? The weakest little wallflower? Where are you? Who is the weakest in this whole chamber right now? Is it the man that wouldn't read my CV? I don't know. Should we ask the weakest little wallflower, what is too much offence? What will be too much for you? Do you feel sad? Have I offended you? Oh, we mustn't allow that to happen now, must we? I wonder to myself, if we go for the weakest person, what would Darwin have to say about that? And some of you come out here pre-programmed with your offence. Some of you were offended by me before I even opened my mouth. Some of you are offended by my outfit. And I have to say, I choose to dress as Nazi Elvis. It is how I like to go about the place. Yes?
I think the police were interested a little bit more in your statements that Muslims needed a final solution. I understand you're a humorous drunk at the moment, and I'm going to offend you by saying that, but your statements are beyond just causing frivolous offence, aren't they? They're to mask an extremely nefarious and actually violent agenda.
They're to mask, say that again, they're to mask an extremely nefarious and violent agenda. Would you say calling myself a spaz is a violent agenda? Pardon?
Not what I said.
What did you say?
I said you called for a final solution against Muslims.
That's not true either. I called for a final solution to Islamist terror in this country. And there are things that you might not want to hear, but those things are absolutely true. So Jim Ratcliffe, what he said was completely right. And to the point of our individual over here who said, why not refute the point? Why not go to the point instead of just asking people to apologise? Apologising doesn't deal with the facts of the matter, and it's never the facts that people go to. Yes?
Since you were talking about your right to offend,
Yes.
would it be okay with you if I could use my right to offend you?
Of course, go for it.
I have to say...
Could you do less hand wiggling and do the talking?
What if you say, Miss Bigger Snob in England?
Okay. So,
Okay.
no,
Order, please. Order. Order. Thank you. We can let the speaker continue.
I don't think that went so well for you. But I encourage points of order from the floor, and I don't want to humiliate you further than you've already humiliated yourself. So I think it's important that I move on.
You know, when you have a disagreement with a coworker, a neighbor, or a family member, you generally just talk it out. You might argue, you might even walk away frustrated, but you recognize that other people have the right to see the world differently. You don't call the authorities because someone's opinion raised your blood pressure. But watching that exchange at the Cambridge Union, you realize we are dealing with a political faction that has completely forgotten how to function like normal adults. What you just witnessed wasn't a debate. It was a collision between hard reality and a pampered, institutionalized worldview. Notice what that student Heckler did. He didn't refute a single statistic or offer a counter-argument. Instead, he jumped straight to the left's favorite magic trick, claiming her words masked a violent agenda. This is their exact playbook. When progressive activists cannot win on the merits, they redefine your words as violence. Once your speech is classified as violence, their censorship is magically justified as self-defense. It's an incredibly weak way to navigate the world, but it works if the institutions play along. And they absolutely do. Hopkins wasn't exaggerating about police knocking on doors for social media posts. Look at the timeline in the UK. This cultural rot legally solidified when the Scottish Hate Crime and Public Order Act took full force in April 2024, essentially turning private conversations into potential criminal offences if someone simply felt offended. Throughout 2024 and 2025, British police hunted down ordinary citizens for bad jokes, while actual street crime went ignored. Now, in 2026, the UK has essentially criminalized human friction. Why does this matter to us? Because the UK is the left's beta test. The modern Democratic Party looks at European speech laws as an instruction manual. They use softer words, combating disinformation or fighting hate speech, but the end goal is identical. They want the government to act as the HR department for your private life. But as Hopkins brilliantly asked, how do you measure offense? Do you just find the most emotionally fragile person in the room and make their feelings the baseline for the law? The silver lining here is massive. Did you see how quickly their moral high ground collapsed the moment she simply refused to apologize? The left's entire censorship regime relies on a psychological bluff. They rely on you backing down. The moment you look them in the eye and say, I am not apologizing, they completely short-circuit. As we navigate 2026, this is the exact energy conservatives need. We cannot cede an inch of ground to people who want to police human emotion. Speak the truth, state the facts, and let the delicate flowers be offended. Offense is a choice they make, and remaining free is a choice we must fiercely protect. Thanks for watching Julian Discourse. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.